My bad point. I actually teased on it before, but no one talked about it, so I purposely put it as my bad point. I actually think this isn't about the guy's team. This is about the context of the player. This is maybe the worst month I've ever actually seen of ZywOo's career, mate. Like, I've seen the whole career from the beginning. Like I say, even the, like, bad months when Vitality would have, like, you know, famously, he used to have, like, slow starts to, like, spring and stuff, if you remember, in some of the years. But even then, again, because he's ZywOo, slow start would be, like, very fucking good still. And it would be, like, more like you had one big famous loss in a series. You wouldn't, you know, you carry all the rest of the series, then you'd bomb one big series. This is the worst month I've actually seen in his whole career. Like, hearing that he's sick at one of the events doesn't surprise me. Something's just off. And like I say, the T-side numbers are way off. This isn't a player who just baits and frags people on CT side. Like, he clearly has embraced being a rifler, etc., by the way. And he was a mega fucking T-side player earlier in the year. And then another reason it's a concern for me is this. Think about the conversation we had the second Vitality stopped winning. It became that whole convoluted thing of, like, now what do we do with ZywOo and Donk? What if now Donk wins all the tournaments, but then Donk also has the better stat? People are tracking, like Maui, the number one race the whole year now. They don't just wait till the end of the year. A month like this really hurts you, because I'll tell you what, Donk doesn't have a month like this, mate. He has a game that's bad, he has a map that's bad. He doesn't have a whole month off like this. And I do think if you look at it, it's also going to hurt ZywOo a little bit, because even though, like I say, on the one hand, yes, they need him to win. They need him to be better if they want to win the tournaments. But it also actually, like I said about that thing before, where people who are his fans still talk like he 1v9s. This shows he doesn't. They still make the semis when he's playing bad guys. So actually, he genuinely, it is the meme of he needs to step his game up. Like, I have to see, it doesn't have to be the peak of before, by the way. They could probably still win tournaments somewhere halfway between. But it can't be like this. Like, this is the worst I've seen ZywOo play in a long time. So I've just put it as my bad. What do you think, Neo?
I probably agree. You know, I think, like, in a way, like, with ZywOo's, like, career actually started, like, I started watching Counter-Strike only like a year before his, like, career starts. So I sort of followed them in the same thing, like, all the way through. I even did a piece, like, not even that long ago for kind of ESEA talking about his whole career. And I was like, I went back after EWC and kind of looked through the stats. And I was like, yeah, like, this guy's taking a drop. But I was breaking it down. It's like, you know, you look at, like, the things that would sort of make sense when you're in a bit of a rut, where it's like, how's his level against top 5 teams, right? It's like, well, drastically drop. I think it's like something close to that 0.3 drop. It's like, it's a pretty big drop statistically. You know, top 10, similar thing, like 0.25 drop as well. But it's actually when you see him against teams that should be a little bit more of an easy win across the board, where ZywOo would, like, in the past put up, like, generational numbers, right? Like group stage games against, like, randoms, so kind of what, quote unquote, kind of from, like, the tier 1.5. And it's like, even then we're still seeing ZywOo where he's just not as, like, clinical, not as lethal. You've touched on it a little bit, especially in terms of his T side, but one thing I was noticing, he seems to be, especially when he's in a bit of a desperate position as well, picking up the sniper more than he usually would. At times he would kind of go in for this crux, where it felt like, where it's like, okay, like, if I need to do something here, I know on this T side I've got this rifle. But I've seen him at times now where it's like he's a bit flustered or panicked, and it's like, right, I'm going to just try and change up the variation, see if I can flip the script a little bit. And it's not really working. So yeah, I think this probably is, like, the worst we've seen from him, at least, like, from his, like, proper pro career starting. Obviously playing in a few mixed teams, you know, coming through when he, like, really started making a name for himself. Like, he was, like, out the gates, like, in open, like, dominant. Everyone was like, who is this kid, basically playing for, like, a random team. But, like, even when we're talking about, like, the proper, like, paid professional, you know, he finished school and all the rest, like, this is a guy who was, like, out the gates incredible. Obviously, you know, we know how many, like, kind of, like, top placings he's got in terms of, like, the HTV overall ranking for the year and whatnot. You look towards him now and it's like impact way down, you know, just in general, like, the vibe, like, the aura, the scariness of this guy is way down. Now we're, like, starting to fall back on, like, who's the other players to step up and, like, kind of take the reins a little bit, because we're not seeing that ZywOo. It's like, right, we need Robs to be putting up these numbers now, or we need Flames to get back to his individual form that he was at, or Mezzi's having to put on a little bit more of a carry performance than he should be required considering his roles. And we're now kind of going into games where it's like, you know, you even seeing where, like, Orpas on the flip side, especially when you've got ZywOo on that CT side, it's like Orpas who, on that flip side, are so confident taking fights against what would traditionally be his positions, because they know they've kind of got a bit of an edge on him right now. And I think whether it's like a mental thing or it is just, you know, again, like, the thing, external factors like the flu or whatnot, but this is tough for him. The issue, that I guess the flip side to this is that, you know, there has been times where we've had, like, tournaments where he's not been good, or you know, the one-off, like, hiccups along the road. He's generally speaking very good at bouncing back, and he has this kind of, like, you know, sharp, like, I'm here, like, you know, relax. It was just a bit of a one-off. So I'm hoping this sort of, like, month to, like, month and a half is one of those where it's like, you know, basically a post Austin onwards, where it's like, okay, yes, I was a little off. Maybe I lost a bit of like, the driver. You talk about that at times where it's like a lot of these like players who win everything, sometimes it can be hard to really keep yourself at that like top level, which is where people like the donks of the world are like so like just scary. It's like, this is a guy who like wins a trophy and then goes and plays two faces afterwards because he can't be bothered to do anything else. Like this is just like an ultimate competitor. So I hope for the ZywOo can bounce back. I think this next like month in a way it'll actually be quite telling, especially like, you got kind of London into then, all the events that kind of follow in a way, leading all the way up to, because I guess the tail end of the year. It's like this next like month and a half is a big tell of like, is this a hiccup or is this actually him now starting to like really have that a lot less impact? And if it is, then that conversation about number one does start to really go a lot more up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people will rightfully just kind of hear last month land top 20, he has a 1.2 and be like, wow, it's still really good. What's the deal? It's really versus the best teams that you should be concerned. It's not really actually the overall number, because yeah, like a 1.2 for the year would probably still land you top 3 in the world. Like you're still behind, like that's like Monacy's entire year basically. But it's just that, man, like I know the third place cider doesn't really mean the most, but going sub 1.0 KD on every single map, that's not very ZywOo like. To go, he had under in the series that he played against really elite teams for this season, which is Mongols 3 times, Mao's once, and Falcons once. Only 2 of those series did he have above a 1.0 KDs. And when watching him, I don't really think, I just feel like, it's hard to say. EWC, I think, is weird because I think everybody was really sick. Like I'm being like, and I know that seems like some kind of cope because people have been sick in the past, but legitimately, almost every single broadcast talent at Bounty got sick. Like Vu got sick, Scrawny got sick, Hugo got sick, Harry got sick. Like everybody got sick. Like I'm really lucky. I take these fucking LA fucking multivitamins or some shit, some California bullshit like that I'm just on. So apparently it has like a shitload of ingredients in it. And I guess I was safe, but practically everybody got really sick. And then like Spirit got sick, Vitality got sick. Like everybody that got deep into the Bounty also got sick. I don't know why that happened, but maybe we should all just vax up, guys. Get your. No, I'm just kidding. Just fucking around. No, I don't know. I don't really know. So I'm discounting the EWC result slightly because like even Donk and Spirit didn't play that well at that event also. So I'm not. That to me is the one-off. But it's a trend. It's a trend to keep our eye on for sure. And if ZywOo continues to have pedestrian numbers versus elite teams, then he is taking himself out of the conversation for the best player in the world for this year, even if he has all the MVP medals. Because also, I'm gonna just kind of like blow the conversation up a little bit here, is that the number, if you really just will go rating to rating, Donk's 2025 is a bigger difference in rating than Simple was over Device in 2018. Like that's those. So if we want, and yes, Device had more MVPs in 2018 than Simple did. So the end all be all wasn't just the MVP count of MVP medals at the end of the year, as is nothing, by the way. I hate trophy reductionists. It's just the laziest form of analysis at all regarding individual achievement. So if he continues like this, then I think the case is going to start closing, because as of right now, Thorin already mentioned it. I keep up my ongoing list of the top 20 roughly players of the year at all. Like every 2 months, I update that list. And right now, Donk is my number one at just the number, like what he's produced even in losing efforts at tournaments. Yeah, he doesn't have all the hardware that ZywOo has this year, but Donk's been a much harder carry for Spirit than ZywOo is for Vitality, where other people can step up for Vitality much more readily. Whereas Donk, it's pretty much, again, the famous stat that he's only had a single series all year where he had a beneath a 1.0 rating and they won. And that was online, by the way. That was an online match. So even if you did the land filter, that stat still persists to this day. Whereas ZywOo can have the off game and he can still win because everybody on his team has they've actually proven that they can win despite him at times, even though usually they don't have to, of course.
Yeah, but by the way, that joke even works both ways around. Technically, what you could also done, Maui, the other angle of that joke is when someone posts the tweet like ZywOo's playing worse the last month, he's been sick, you just reply, faxed. There you go. That's the other meme, innit?
Yeah.
There you go. It works either way on that one. That's how that one worked. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.